Vincent's next big screen appearance was one of the oddest of his entire career, the 1962 action-adventure film Confessions of an Opium Eater, aka Souls for Sale. Loosely based on the autobiographical work of the same name by Thomas de Quincey, the film opens with a Chinese junk filled with slave girls headed to auction. Once ashore, they are attacked by a group of men attempting to free the slaves, led by newspaperman George Waugh. A giant battle breaks out with men wielding weapons and fists. A random white horse gets in on the action. And eventually, a guy shows up with a machine gun to mop up. Honestly, I'm not sure which side won, but it's reported the next day that newspaperman George Waugh died in the conflict. Enter Vincent Price as author de Quincey's ancestor, Gilbert de Quincey, who shows up in the town of San Francisco looking for adventure. He flashes a dragon tattoo in a Chinese shop and is granted admission to one of the Tong gangs, where he meets their second-in-command, Ruby Lowe, played by Linda Ho. He is looking for work and is told they want him to find and return the prize girl of their last shipment, named Lotus, who was stolen on the beach by the rival Tong gang, and to take care of these troublemakers. De Quincey sneaks into the office building of George Waugh and finds Lotus there, being kept in a secret room. He makes his way into the chamber and we learn he is actually there to help her escape. From there, the film grows increasingly bizarre and nearly incomprehensible. De Quincey enters the depths of the slave traders' hideout, a place full of trapdoors, sliding panels, secret passageways, and underground tunnels. Produced and directed by Albert Zugsmith for Allied Artists, the film is narrated by De Quincey in a wordy monologue that continues off and on throughout the film. Adding to the otherworldly nature of the film is the zany soundtrack by Albert Glasser, a bizarre and eerie score that perfectly punctuates the on-screen eccentricities. The De Quincey novel the film is based on is famous for its descriptions of drug use in real life. In this film, Price likewise dabbles in drugs. This is actually the third film Price appeared in featuring drug usage. In Dragonwyck, Price played a drug addict.
See, I have become what is vulgarly known as a drug addict.
In The Tingler, he experimented with LSD. In this one, he smokes opium, even though he knows, as he admits,
that stuff buys nightmares.
And that it does. Sharp-eyed sci-fi fans will recognize many of these nightmare images from other fan favorites such as Invasion of the Saucer People, Voodoo Woman, The Screaming Skull, and more.
Was this opium, or was it reality? Was I dead? Or was I only beginning to live?
When he awakens from the nightmarish drug trip, he finds everything, himself included, moving in slow motion. The scene is presented entirely soundlessly, adding to the hazy, drug-induced dreaminess of the scene. This is perhaps the most action-oriented film of Price's entire career, with the 51-year-old actor playing the part of the pulp hero. Not just any actor could have pulled off this role without looking completely ridiculous, but Price manages to fit in easily, his mellifluous voice handling the poetic dialogue with ease.
Man himself is not immortal, but some men live their lives as if time was endless. This was the room of a man who believed.
Watch for a cameo early on from Angelo Rosito. Horror fans will recognize him from such classics as Freaks, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, and Something Wicked This Way Comes. Price would work with him again in 1987 in the film From a Whisper to a Scream, Angelo's final film. The finale of Confessions of an Opium Eater is, like everything else about the film, confusing and vague. I've watched the movie 3 times now and I'm still not 100% sure exactly what happened throughout the movie. But that's not a condemnation of the film. Despite its eccentric nature, or perhaps because of it, it's definitely worth watching at least once. Sit back, enjoy the ride, you're in for a truly unique experience with this one. Next up, Price will be reunited with director Roger Corman in the 1962 anthology film, Tales of Terror.
Somehow I think you wear more faces than there are stars in a gutter after the rain.
My Vincent fusses for hours over this precious soup stocks. He says good soup comes from good stock. So when I found Nestle's Soup Time with home-style stock and then made it in only 10 seconds, well, I got such an evil look. Oh, but even Vincent admits home-style stock makes Soup Time something special.
I wanted to hate it, but it's just too good.
Nestle Soup Time Instant Soups with a home-style stock. Look for our faces on the shelf.